I think A Death in the Gunj and Mirror are more me than any film that I have acted in. It takes time to put a project together, and especially a series, and especially comedy and all of that. So let's see. And you know, one is hearing about shows getting cancelled all the time, like in prep. Of course, it happens that you want to take a particular actor, but invariably your financiers and all are like, no, we can't do it if we take this actor. We'll only do it if we take that actor. Knowing the things we do about this industry, and still willingly want to enter it.
Yeah.
You know,
there must be something clinically wrong with people.
I guess it wouldn't get made today because, you know, I've been hearing that there is no space for the mid-budget, or actually, let's face it, small budget film. Death in the Gunj was made fairly
Or you pitch
cheaply.
it as a show and they say make it gangs of McCluskey Gunj or something.
And then they cancel it in prep. It's too expensive.
The streaming show is brought to you by MUBI, your one-stop shop for meaningful cinema from around the globe. You can try MUBI for free for 30 days by visiting mubi.com/thestreamingshow2025.
Konkona, it is so wonderful to have you on the season finale of the streaming show. Thank you for being here.
Oh wow, I didn't know it was going to be the season finale.
I'm so glad to be doing this with you because it's not every day you get to say that you're talking to one of the most exciting actors around as well as one of the most exciting filmmakers around, and I'm not just saying that.
I don't know about all that, but thank you so much for having me.
That is very much my opinion, and I'm not the only one. I was trying to put into perspective your talent, and I think better me, I'm going to quote one of my colleagues, Rahul, who wrote a piece about your performances back in the pandemic. And I'll just sort of quote an excerpt from that because I felt like he really got to the heart of you. He said, this was just after Gili Pucci, and he said, I'll admit it took an astonishing turn in a Netflix anthology to trigger this long overdue deep dive into the filmography of a performer whose talent we've often taken for granted. I can't think of too many actors and actresses in this prolific millennium with not a single subpar performance to their name. Hindi cinema took a while to figure her out and stop pigeonholing her as the cultural outsider, but her baby steps in Bengali cinema were an accurate indicator of a staggering range. Not done yet. You know the frightening part? A Death in the Gunj is evidence that acting may only be Konkona Sen Sharma's second strongest suit. Such is her stranglehold over a visual medium that, despite a gold-blooded lineage, she has inextricably made her own.
My God, I remember now while you were reading it, I remembered that this was one of the, you know, the bright spots of the pandemic. Thank you so much, Rahul. Very kind words.
But he's obviously very, very right. And this is, of course, before The Mirror, your, you know, wonderful segment from the stories. I wanted to start with you, the director. You know, A Death in the Gunj, I remember watching it in Mami, I think it's 2016. And there are very few times I can remember feeling so deeply with and for a film and a character, you know, specifically. And then, of course, we got The Mirror. I'm curious, you're just 2 films old, and not to take away from that achievement, are you surprised at just how much of a response there has been to you as a filmmaker and just how excited so many of us are to sort of see everything you do next?
Yeah, it's like, it's so sweet, you know. I'm so happy. It's so sweet. I actually try not to take any of that very seriously. I was like, what? I don't know. I didn't hear. I mean, you know, it's better to avoid and ignore.
But there are so many of us who literally, as an entitled
you know,
audience...
we think there are many of us.
Are they not?
Actually, we're the minority, very much so.
Okay.
That's okay. I'm very happy. I found a little niche. I like my little niche, and, you know, and then it's okay. I anyway have to do what I want to do. Then whether, you know, how people see me, whether they like me, don't like me, whether I'm in a niche or I'm not, all of this is extraneous and not really up to me. So it's best not to get too kind of involved.
No, fair. But I found it interesting that I imagine you've been an exciting actor for so long. The body of work is phenomenal. And then at some point you decide to pivot to being a filmmaker. And with 2 projects, I definitely don't feel I'm alone in this, where so many of us are just so incredibly excited at a filmmaking voice that we didn't expect. And seeing you in a very different way and immediately signing on for everything.
You know why I'm very happy? I'm very happy about it is because I think A Death in the Gunj and Mirror are more me than any film that I have acted in.
Okay.
So if like somebody would like to get to know me, not that you can through a film, like a window into what kinds of interests or, you know, I don't know. I mean, whatever little one can glean from a film or 2. Then this is more me than any film that I've acted in. That's true. So I'm very happy. I just want to tell you that we think we are many, but we are very few.
I will disagree with you there, but even if you are right, whoever the few are, they are extremely passionate.
Yeah, they are very valuable. The
Yeah, yeah.
few are valuable. Just because something is popular doesn't mean it's good, and just because something is art house doesn't mean it's good.
Of course. But I find that so interesting because, you've had a life at the movies with sort of playing so many different kinds of characters. It's interesting that you say that this is more you, not to say that those characters weren't, but that's really interesting to say that like you feel like this captures who you are more than most of your characters. My natural next question was going to be, where can we see you as a filmmaker next? But I feel like a recent announcement has answered that. You are reportedly co-show running, co-directing an Amazon comedy.
And co-writing.
Yes, co-writing as well. What can you tell us about that? It sounds very exciting.
Nothing. Because actually that's not an announcement we put out.
Okay.
It was something that, people felt they knew and they put it out, and that's fine. I'm all for people should do what they want to do. But it's not something I personally announced or anything. And I wouldn't have announced it yet actually because, this has actually been in the talks for a while.
Okay.
And, things do go up and down, and it takes time to put a project together, and especially a series, and especially comedy and all of that. So let's see. And one is hearing about shows getting cancelled all the time, like in prep.
That seems to be the flavor of the season.
Yeah. And I'm anyway generally a slightly nervous kind of a person. Like, who knows what will happen, and who knows if it will happen. And
I'll believe it when it's out.
Yeah, or when I'm actually sweating and working.
Hypothetically, if you were about to be embarking on a comedy as a filmmaker, are you excited to really lean into the humor side of things? Because The Mirror did have, undertones of comedy. But again, we'll say hypothetically, is that something that excites you to really explore comedy as a genre?
Yeah, it really does. Though I don't know if I'll be able to do it. I find it exciting for sure. Many times people who know me say I'm funny. Not always on purpose. So I don't know how that's going to go. Luckily, my co-director and also, co-everything on this Jaideep Sarkar is very funny himself. Yeah. So we're good. No, I shouldn't give out too many names. Let's just see how it goes.
Yeah, reportedly. If the rumors are true, which they are. No, so I also want to ask, now that you're straddling two worlds, of acting and filmmaking, how you, I don't know if the word is strategizing, which projects you take on, because before it was in the capacity of an actor, but now you're doing both. Because you've sort of dabbled in shorts and features and now shows, both as in front of and behind the camera. So now how do you decide what projects excite you and in what capacity?
So I have to say that I feel like I'm largely an actor. I feel like I'm default an actor, which is so interesting because when I started off, I did never want to be an actor. I'm a bit of an accidental actor. Yeah. And it's only kind of eventually that I kind of realized, I've been acting for a while. And so I am an actor and I'm going to accept it. And of course, today I'm very grateful and lucky and that things worked out as they did. But because I've been acting for so many years now and I've acted in must be some 50, 60 films, you know. So
according to IMDb, you're almost touching 60.
Oh, how nice. Yeah. So now the thing is that only half of them are decent.
Okay.
Which is okay. That's fine. I think in a career, it's been 2 decades and that much is allowed and it's normal. It's fine. And a lot of, experience and, all home fires and all of that. So I think largely I feel like an actor. In fact, sometimes even if somebody asks me something on a set, I remember on Maestro, In Dino, at one time, Pankaj and I were shooting something in the car, and something about we were in the car going somewhere in the camera or something where it is, and I have no clue. Usually I have no clue. And he was saying, nahi, yahan se aayega, wo hoga, something. I said, nahi, kahan gaya, something. And I'm very vague and forgetful anyway as a person. And he said, it was very clear to him. And he said this. And then after a moment, he kind of turned to me and said, aap to direction karte ho. And I was like, I know. But, if I'm not actually planning, prepping, it's not like I'm clued in, tuned in, thinking about it. I'm not like that as a person. Yeah. It's only if I've actually written it and I have the whole film in my head and I've prepped for it that I know I have the answers. But it's not all the time I'm ready to take over,
It must be nice to be here, I'm very much just an actor. That is somebody else's problem. My justice is to this character. I'm not controlling or trying to be aware of everything. And then when I'm an actor, I'm so fiercely just on the side of my character. My character could be a serial killer. I am for my character. I'm defending my character and I'm blinkered in that sense. Because then I don't really have such a great sense of the whole film unless, of course one has read the script many times, unless the director has also communicated that, this is your part in the scheme of things and this is how I would like the film to be, which it's not directors do that a lot.
I mean, that, I would like the film to be like this, or this is the tone, and, that this the element of this actor should be like this. It's, yeah. Otherwise, I'm just like, okay, this is who I am. And then I try to just become that for a while. And sometimes I've even done to the detriment of like myself sometimes, that I just try to behave like that character even in my real life, I just like to tweak a little bit just to kind of observe, because it's so great that we have ourselves to observe all the time. You just observe yourself and just cheat immediately and put it in a movie.
That life is the ultimate hack. You mentioned Metro. I was going to ask you this later. I have to know what it's like being on an Anurag Basu set. A lot of Metro is some of the most joy I felt at the movies this year. A lot of those sequences in the first half. It's just, there's something so delightful and unwieldy about his words. I also get the sense that nobody really, only he knows the film in his head. So I'm so curious to know whether it's on a script level, narration level, or on that set. Do you know what that film is, or are you just very much committed to your small part in it and you find out what it is later?
I feel like at least Anurag has the whole film in his head. I feel sometimes, I don't know if every film director has the whole film in their head. They probably do. They must have. But I think, so Anurag very clearly had told me our track, Pankaj's and mine, very clearly. In fact, I actually even got like a screenplay, and he told me about all the others.
Screenplay of your little story within that, or the
yes.
Okay.
Like a few pages on that, and that he kind of stuck to, like, from beginning to end.
Got it.
Of course, little things were being tweaked all the time, and we didn't always know what we were shooting in which day. And also because he's so bloody good that he can actually pull off anything at any time and make you believe anything, and he can pull it off. I could never, right? So it's true that he does have the whole film in his head, and I really was just kind of constant, and I was just taking my cues from him. So, and I do that. I'd like to think that I'm fairly adaptable as an actor, because different directors have different styles. So you have to just go along with how this film is, and how this set is, and how this director is, and how they like to prep or not, or how they like to work, and you have to just kind of mold and adapt, and that's fun in its own way.
Just coming back to you as a filmmaker, I'm curious, I imagine for the longest time being an actor, you have to navigate what I'll call the circus. Apart from the work, the characters, there's also the noise of it, PR perception, whatever, positioning, all of that stuff. In terms of being a filmmaker, is that a different kind of circus? Is it a lot of sort of pitching and trying to find sort of common ground with the producer and sort of developing stuff and casting and getting things off the ground? Is that a whole different other ball game, or does it feel like more of the same?
I feel like the most important and perhaps difficult for me, only speaking for myself, is to get the key idea and then to actually execute in terms of the script. Like, once that's done, then everything flows from there. Of course, it happens that you want to take a particular actor, but invariably your financiers and all are like, no, we can't do it if we take this actor. We'll only do it if we take that actor. Which is the sad truth here. And then, you keep fighting. I've had so many of these guys begging, fighting on the phone. And then sometimes you're just told, sorry, but we can't make this film if you don't agree. So then you have to take those calls. And, some fights you win and some you don't.
But do you feel, I know it's hard to compare, but do you feel like casting in that context is a bigger struggle than, say, this is the film I want to make? By which I mean, your work is so open is the wrong word. It's very much open to our experience of it. You're not telling us how to feel at every given time. And is that ever a tough sell for, say, a producer or a platform?
That part hasn't been. Actually, this is the actor part. Which actor to take? You see, because the actor usually dictates everything. Like, we take because the budget is not determined by your story. Which ideally, in an ideal world, it should be, no? Because, like, if you need airports, or if you need like bombs or cars exploding, like whatever. Not that I'm making those films, but the budget is usually decided by the actor. So that turns out to be a tough negotiation. I think one way out of this is to make films for very little money. Because maybe then they'll allow you to kind of do what you want to do or take who you want to take. If you make it for less money, so that you make sure you break even, or that you're not like ruining anybody else's bank account or anything, then that's a solution.
So if you could do it at a certain budget, you should get some extent of freedom.
And that usually is the case, you know. And somehow it's happened also with me that, you make it quickly, you make it cheaply, and you make what you want to make. I hope that will work. I also don't know.
Speaking of your new show, on Hotstar, Search the Naina murder case.
Yes.
If I'm not wrong, this is the first time you're playing a cop.
Yes. I'd actually done a cameo like years ago as a pregnant cop in a film called Akira. But I've never really played a cop, and I've never really done a full-on investigation like this at all. So I was most excited to play this character.
But I'm curious to know, I imagine, because the cop in a murder mystery has become a bit of a template is the wrong word, but there are certain tropes associated with that. I imagine an actor stepping into that role might have certain preconceived notions. So was there anything that surprised you about playing her that you found yourself enjoying more than you thought?
She's really dry and restrained. And I really like that very much. It's kind of what I kind of aspire to be almost. And I don't always manage that. See, now the thing is that it's... and the reason why I was so excited because it's based off a really fabulous old show, right? Like it's 20 years old, Forbid Elson, the Scandinavian Danish show. And I'd actually seen the American adaptation, The Killing. So good. It was so good. I loved it so much. I loved the camaraderie between the two cops. Is actually what I remember the most, and then when I was offered this, I was like, oh my God, I had loved that. And I know that it works. So obviously, yes, I want to do it. And then I went back and I saw the Danish version as well. And that, that character of this cop, I really like. I have a lot of respect for her. Let's say that. It's not like I always respect so much the characters that I'm playing. And that's something like in my first film, when I was very young, I was very judgy, very judgmental. Yeah, and I
judgmental of the character.
Yeah, like why are you behaving like this? Have some self-respect. What is this? Where's your dignity? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? What is this silly? Why are you wearing this? What is this house? All of this used to happen to me in the early part of my career.
Now you're defending the serial killer if you play one. It's the opposite.
Yeah. Then my mom, I remember in my first few films, and my first film, my mom had told me that, can you please be a little more compassionate towards your character? And thank God I've had my mom for 100 million things, but also for this, because that really helped, because she kind of put it into perspective. Like, this character doesn't have too much in her arsenal. So this is what she does. And, so don't be so judgy. But even then, even if you're not being judgy, even if you're understanding, you may not always have behaved or wanted to behave how the characters you're playing are behaving. You may not always take those actions, right? But in the case of Sanyukta Das, I really like the things she's doing and the way she's behaving. And I'm like, I may not actually be able to do that, but I might like to, or I might want to, which is saying a lot.
Very much so. Also, I have not seen the Danish show or the American show, but my favorite part of the show was your dynamic with, I don't know the other actor's name, sorry.
Surya Sharma, who plays Jay.
I really did like it. They really are such fun opposites.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, it really
Because
works.
that is the key thing. That's what, I sometimes wonder, because somebody famous had said, I think, that plot is character.
Yeah.
Because and I'm not one who really cares for a lot of very complicated plot. And it's not even something that I can really retain for a long time. It's really, if you like a character, or if you're, if you get hooked or you're interested in watching, you like to see them in different circumstances. Like a person you like, you want to see them doing different things, and then you remain with that character.
Again, hypothetically, assuming you're someone who's about to embark on your first show, do you believe what they say, that a series is a character's medium versus film tends to be more of a sort of more about plot? So
film tends to be more about plot, though I don't agree with anyway.
No, because that's what they say, that not always the case, but they say that, which shows there's far more focus on character.
You can delve more into character, or backstory, or other characters, and not just a lead, or, each episode can be different and stuff. Yeah, those things can happen. And, anything can happen even on a film. It's just that we bind ourselves, we feel so bound to certain conventions which don't actually exist. And this happened to me a lot when I was when I was directing my first film, because it was a lot of am I allowed to do this? Is it okay? I mean, can I do this? Can I hold this shot for so long? And there was a lot of second guessing actually which happened at that time.
It very much worked, whatever you decided on. It is such a special film. And again, it's been so many years, and the fact that it really sticks in your head that beautifully. You just want to protect that character from the world so entirely.
Yeah. And what I love is that so many people relate to Shuntu.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks they're a Shuntu, then who's the Vikram? Vikram is also feeling like Shutu.
If you don't know who it is in your life, it's you. Um,
Yeah. Oh my God, that's profound.
just speaking of sort of characters in shows, I wanted to talk about your work on streaming and shows specifically over the last few years. We've seen you in such fine shows like Mumbai Diaries, Killer Soup, which is a show I have a very special soft corner for. I really love that world. I love what you did with that role. And the fact that you got this role where you really got to be so, whatever the right word is, so calculating, so interesting. You're always trying to get into her head to understand where she's coming from and why she's so equipped to suddenly be this person. Was it as fun to play her as it was to
It
watch?
was so much fun to play her. I can't even tell you. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful that Abhishek Chaubey cast me in this role and that he was even allowed to.
Yeah.
I'm so happy, and thanks to the powers that be who let him do this. I got to work with Manoj Bajpai.
Not one, but two Manoj Bajpayis.
Two Manojes. Two Manojes. And Manoj and I have both existed in the same space for so many years, and we've never got a chance to work together.
Yeah.
So that was absolutely fantastic. And, what I really used to call her Swati Shetty, Shady Lady, because she's,
Shady lady might be a bit of an understatement, but I guess murderous doesn't.
She's not actually murdering anybody. She's not herself murdering
She's
anybody.
pulling the strings.
She's not even like, it's just like she thinks it and it happens.
Yeah.
And, Abhishek had very nicely explained this to me once at the beginning when we were embarking upon it. And then he said that, he had once thought of it like a graphic novel.
Yeah.
And immediately it kind of fell into place. I was like, oh, and I could imagine her in all the panels and, how she's behaving and what she's doing. And that was, that really helped me.
Yeah.
Because then I realized, it's that kind of a show, it's not necessarily even meant to be very real in terms of,
I was curious to get your perspective on where the streaming space is today, because when it started, I just felt like there's so much hope in the kinds of stories we were seeing. Of late, call it a contraction. It seems like there's far fewer shows, there's far fewer buyers and platforms, and even the kinds of shows being made, there seems to be a clear push towards bigness, safeness, accessibility. There's so many sort of stories we're hearing of things that are shelved of all levels. So does that concern you in terms of the kinds of stories that can be told in this environment?
Bigness, safeness, where have we heard this before? Only forever.
Yeah.
I feel like, ever since I've entered the film industry and even before, like having, been on the kind of outskirts of it in Cal, when my mom was trying to make slightly alternative content in the films that she was directing. It's like, usually it was usually studios, who dictated these terms. And there were few studios and they did dictate terms.
Yeah.
And naturally, some of it I understand because, they have to recover their money, etc. And I feel like with platforms also, I think their main objective is to have a large subscriber base, I think. And so I don't think their aim is, after that, if something good happens, that's great. But I feel like that's their concern. That's their concern by and large.
Which is fair.
And so I feel like one thing that might help is that if we could have some more streaming platforms, because we just have like the 4 or 5 and they also kind of merge and I don't know what.
Because no one's making money and that's why they all gobble each other up, because it's my limited understanding is it's not exactly a business model that
working?
Breaks the bank.
No.
It just feels like over the last few years, everything was getting made, and it just felt like, again, I'm seeing this from an entitled audience perspective, not a business person at all, but there was a lot more variety. It felt like one for us, one for them, however you want to say it from a platform perspective. And it just feels like that ratio is moving in a, different direction. The buzzword in town is TV Plus or whatever, and all that kind of stuff, where it just feels like, call it sensibility or whatever, but everything is just accessible, entertaining.
Yeah, maybe. And then one hears that the middle of the road cinema is just gone, the mid-budget cinema film is not happening. One hears these kinds of things as well. I think it would be great if we could have and of course I think that all kinds of films should be made,
Yeah, of course.
Who am I to decide what's good and what's bad, etc. It would be nice if we could have all kinds of films which cater to all kinds of different people. The only thing is that, some are such big players and some are, such small players that it's not a very even playing field, obviously. So it would be nice if we could have some kind of subsidy or something to make certain kinds of films, or to show certain kinds of films, or like a separate theater for that, only because if one, then otherwise there's not much room for experimentation, because naturally I understand if you want to not lose money, you don't want to take a risk in that sense, you do want to repeat what has worked. And I understand that. It's not like I don't understand or respect that point of view. but then what do you do?
Yeah.
You know, you have to make some different kinds of films, because otherwise, you know, if you don't have some experimentation,
Yeah.
then how are you pushing the envelope? And it's only through a few films here and there which do push the envelope that through that conventions do change, you know, down the line, as they have been.
This is something that's come up a lot with various conversations I've had, which is this idea of data. You know, like a lot of people seem to be storytelling through data in terms of what has worked in the past, you know, in terms of streaming specifically, even producers. And, you know, Pratik Gandhi was talking to me about this earlier on the show. And he said that, like, purely from an audience perspective, not even something from sort of an indie or art house perspective, but if you, how do you know how do people know what they want? You know, data would never make something like Scam, which is so massive. But if you don't take a chance, then you're always just going to make diluted versions of what came before. So we remain hopeful, I guess. But
yeah, I don't know how really that's going to be bridged, but that's okay. You know, it's not like that's my area of expertise anyway. So I should just kind of stick to what I know and try to do the work that I do in the best way that I can. What else can I do?
But I was also curious, you know, because of these divisions of theatrical and streaming that, you know, seems to be the new buzzword, that every film is immediately slotted from an audience perspective, from a filmmaker perspective, that this is streaming, this is theatrical. If Death in the Gunj got made today, could you imagine, would that only be allowed to be made for streaming? Do you know what that might look like?
You know, I have no idea, and I've not spent any time thinking about it at all.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I guess it wouldn't get made today because, you know, I've been hearing that there is no space for the mid-budget, or actually, let's face it, small budget film. Death in the Gunj was made fairly
Or you pitch
cheaply.
it as a show and they say make it Gangs of Miklaski Gunj or something.
And then they cancel it in prep. It's too expensive.
And then they have to bring it way down. I'm so glad that actually got made before life.
Yeah, I'm glad too. I'm
changed.
glad too. And I never thought that, you know, it would find so many people that, you know, that love it still.
So there's no part of you that, from a filmmaker perspective, wants to make the big theatrical film at some point, or is it?
No. Not really. I mean, it would be lovely if that could happen. But, you know, since that's unlikely, I don't really waste time thinking about that. The main thing is I have to be able to write a great script. That's the thing. And, you know, you can't really have expectations from other people. I mean, I can barely have expectations from myself. So if I can just write a great script, or write a script that I'm okay with, and then we'll see, you know, then you just take it around here and there and hope, you know, like if I make it for very little money, if people will agree, you know.
So you really feel like once that script is done and you're happy with what, that feels like half the battle. That's it.
That's the main thing. I think that's the main thing. If I could, and because I also have like something vaguely in mind for a while and I've just not been able to get down to writing, and also because luckily I've been busy, then I would feel very satisfied. And then I would feel like, you know, I've done my part of things. And now if nobody wants to make it, what can I do? You know?
But do you enjoy the writing process? Because if I'm not wrong, with both projects, you've worked with a writer. So is that fun to sort of have someone to jam with, or is it a challenge?
I love having someone to jam with. Actually, that's the most fun. That is fun. That is fun. It's great fun to just like world building. That's the most fun. Not just like whether you have a co-writer or whether it's with your production designer, or whoever, you know, your DOP. It's great fun because then that's just the whole imagination thing. I never thought imagination would come so much into play, you know. As a kid, like one thought that daydreaming and being, you know, imaginative, like that could be such a superpower.
I remember, I think Rajamouli said this recently in an interview. He was talking about, he said more than writing, that's fine. He said that's the most fun. He said the imagination of, he said literally he's jamming, I think, with his dad, and they're just imagining what this world could be, you know. And before anything's put to paper, before it becomes a thing, just the possibilities.
And to have it in your head, you know, at least. It's like, I used to compare it to packing, like packing for a trip. It's like, if you know what you want to take, then fitting it into the suitcase is not the difficult part. But you have to know, like, what's the weather going to be? What are the kind of events? What do I want? You know, like, it's a frivolous example, but you have to know what you want to put in it. And how it's going to go, like from point A to point B or A to Z or whatever it is. And then after that, to write it out, I mean, that's still okay.
I imagine that's got to be a bit of a pinch me moment where a thought, an idea, a visual you had, and then you sort of embark on that entire process. Once it's made and it's on screen and it's ready, when you say that this literally started off as a flicker of a thought in my
It's
head.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I'm just so happy that I could do it at least twice.
Yeah.
You know, even if I can never do it again, it's okay.
Yeah. Not for us, but for
No. But I'm just saying that
Yeah.
it's so amazing that, you know, and I said this once long back somewhere, that it's like people came to play.
Yeah.
It's like they came to play with me, you know, and that's so much fun. And again, like, Shutu and that story was just a story that my dad used to tell me in my childhood, you know. And even for Mirror and Lust Stories, it was just like it was an anecdote somebody was telling, you know, at some dinner party or something.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a real thing.
So if anybody wants to get a film made, they should come to you with an anecdote and hope it becomes a reality.
It should be captivating enough.
I wanted to get some advice from you on a couple of scenarios. If I'm a young actor who I really care about the craft, I care about the material, I've had maybe one role, and I feel like I've got a foot in the door. And now I need to learn how to navigate the noise of it. I don't know if glamour is the right word, but just the workings of the industry to get more work. The positioning, the social media, whatever all that stuff is. What advice would you have?
Oh my God, I'm totally the wrong person to have come to. What makes you think that I'm acing this? You know.
You're still doing immensely exciting work. I mean, there's not...
Thanks. To do what exactly?
If I feel
succeed.
like to succeed, or like my world is the script, it's the creativity, it's the artistry, but that is not enough, right? There is other things I have to keep in mind to be able to get those opportunities or whatever that looks like.
No, I don't think one really can do anything about that.
It's not in your control.
I don't think it's in your control. I really don't think so. In fact, I think that one should have such a rich inner life, and you know, one should be able to have a sense of satisfaction from several things, so that if one thing doesn't work out, you can do other things, you know, because knowing the things we do about this industry, and still willingly want to enter it. You know,
there must be something clinically wrong with people.
I mean, one should go into it with your eyes open. At least go into it with your eyes open. That I don't know what makes people think that it's a just or a fair world. Like, forget the film industry. I mean, there have been so much conversation about Me Too and nepotism and, you know, all kinds of other things, and, you know, like the business of cinema and things like that. And like, there are so many actors like who are so good and who've not gotten their due, who've not been awarded, who've not gotten actual awards, physical awards, or who've not got roles. And so it doesn't necessarily happen like that. Once in a while it does, and that's a happy accident.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Those are always the best, you know, when the right level of recognition and attention goes to the right film, the right talent, where you're like, there is hope.
Yeah, and even then it happens like in little bursts, no?
One of my favorite examples of this is when the right thing finds the audience. So it's ironic saying this, but Black Warrant, when the scene came out, the fact that it seemed to get a very meaningful audience. And it feels like that show defied algorithm, and it gave so many people hope. And obviously now there's reports that maybe the second season might be stalled. But yeah, that just gave you hope that actually when you do something that's not conventional and watered down, people can respond. And maybe it's not all about data.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I mean, anyway, who am I to say? I mean, they're doing all this research and they're spending so much money doing this research. I guess they know.
And I'm also curious to know if a young actor comes to you for advice, and I'm sure they have many times over the years, what advice have you given them, and how has that changed over the years, or is it still very much the same?
I always try to say, in fact, you know, I often hold very unpopular opinions, Suchin, so I really don't know if it's going to be helpful for anybody. I feel like ideally one should be able to identify different sources of happiness.
Okay.
You can't if I get this job, then I'll be happy, or if I get this spouse, I'll be happy, or if I move to this city, I'll be happy. Then, you know, you're cutting off your sources of your supplies, getting limited for happiness. We're able to find happiness in many things, ideally. Because that's what I'm saying. So many talented people are not finding work, basically.
I asked this question to Shiba Chadda, and she said something very similar, where she said that this is an industry of chronic uncertainty and just not knowing. So for any young actor, whether it's emotionally or monetarily, you need to be prepared for that. You know,
Yes,
it's-
absolutely.
yeah.
So I would definitely say don't compromise on your education at all.
Yeah.
Like 100% go out and finish your education.
Yeah.
Like I think for the first 5 years that I was already acting, and this is after I'd got my national award and things like that, I used to keep thinking, let's see for a few years how it goes.
Yeah.
I'd already moved to Bombay, you know, and I was like, otherwise I'll get a real job. I'll get a job. So I used to keep thinking that I'm just seeing how it's going. Okay, it's going well. It's going well so far. Otherwise, you know, I'll just shift and I'll do something else, and I'll still be me.
Yeah.
And I'll still have other things which interest me, you know, and I'll still have people who love me. So, and you know, who I want to hang with.
This
So,
isn't my entire life.
this is your entire life?
No, I said what you're saying.
Oh, this
Yeah,
isn't
yeah,
my
yeah,
entire
yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And and for many, but you know, I don't know, a lot of people say keep pushing through and keep dreaming and keep focusing on your dreams. And I think that's great, of course, because of course you have to imagine it for it to happen at all. And manifesting seems to be very popular nowadays. I'm not at all convinced. I don't know if it works or not. But maybe it works more with some people than with others, you know. So yeah, one should be prepared for that. Yeah.
I was also thinking about, I don't know if this makes it too simplistic. I was thinking about an actor and I guess a filmmaker as well, its relationship with passion versus pragmatism. I mentioned there are certain roles in projects where, you know, I want to will this into existence. I want to put my life behind this. I really want to tell this story. Maybe it's an uphill battle. Maybe it's really tough to bring it to light versus the pragmatism of this is what is being made. This is what is being offered to me. This is the world. And I need to just make my peace and find joy within it. So does that feel like a struggle of, you know, this is something like feels like my baby, but maybe the reality of bringing it to life is a struggle versus, no, this is an established thing. This is something that exists. These are the offers I'm getting. I'll find my peace within this. Is that ever like a tussle, or is that just?
Actually, I have not ever been a great planner or strategizer. Honestly, I don't see the point.
Yeah.
Because there's too many forces at play and most of them are not in my control.
Especially in this world, yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes, you know, you do a film, I mean, for so many different reasons. It's not every time you're doing a film because it's like
Creatively the most satisfying thing ever.
Yeah.
The artistic joy is unparalleled.
Sometimes you can make something out of nothing, which is the best.
Yeah.
Which is the best.
And
then, you know, one can't plan so much in the sense that then you're not even leaving room for the amazing things that can happen that you can't ever plan for.
Yeah. I always think of that in terms of maybe roles, characters, performances, or projects where there must be certain projects where, you know, people must have thought, I really feel like this is going to blow up in some way, and it doesn't. And there must be it could even be a moment where like people responding to it so much and I never give it a second thought.
Yeah. So, you know, I really try to, it's taught me one thing is detachment, which I really value that so highly. Not just like on a film set. Firstly, on a film set, one has to be detached because there's like 100+ people thronging and there's full chaos. And so you have to kind of detach yourself from your surroundings. Yeah. You are trying to create something with your co-actor and hopefully your director, DOP are nearby and not far away. You are trying to create something and everybody's trying to create it. Everybody. It's not like only you guys. Everybody is on that set to create that.
And hopefully you're all making the same film.
Hopefully you're making the same film. But why I see this is, why was I saying this? Because you're trying to create something, but you have to do it in the midst of, like, the actual reality is very different from, like, you and I right now are trying to pursue, like, some ideas. Yeah. But actually there are other people around and we know that, you know, people are coming and going or whatever it is, right? So these two things are constantly happening and so much more on a film set where you're creating fiction. So you do have to be detached from that reality. Yeah. Then you have to kind of be detached from the work. So it's the whole life is an exercise in detachment, I find, which is very valuable.
Sounds
because so all you can do is like show up on time, know your lines, be sincere, do your thing. And then when the shoot is over, it's over. You know, then you don't even know. Then you have to just like switch off from that completely. And then 6 months later, they'll be like, tell us a funny anecdote. And you're like, what? I don't remember anything.
Any pranks on set? I wanted to end with a quick game. I just wanted to list some of the filmmakers you've worked with. And just what's the first thing that comes to you as in terms of working with them or a memory?
So free association, right?
Yes. Zoya Akhtar.
Cool.
With whom you made one of many of our favorite films, Luck by Chance.
Yes.
Abhishek Chaubey.
Knowledgeable.
Nikhil Advani?
Innovative.
In what way?
Like, like when he was like, firstly I have to answer very quickly without thinking, but also because like the way we were shooting like Mumbai Diaries, it was so quick, and how does one, the coverage and stuff that they were coming up with, that was quite interesting and new.
I love the tension of it. Really felt like we were in that room.
And the first season was like, it was really fun. Like even reading it was so much fun.
Alankrita Shrivastava.
Oh, meaningful. I don't like this game.
You're not saying anything wrong.
No, I'm making sure I'm not.
Yeah. No. I just imagine there are very few actors who've worked with such an exciting sort of range of filmmakers. So I'm just curious to know what your experience was or what comes to mind.
Yeah.
Neeraj Gewan.
How does one even put it? Soulful. Also awkward, which I love. I adore him.
Soulful but awkward. That's interesting.
Soulful but awkward.
Vishal Bhardwaj.
Otyo. How you pronounce that?
As in what we all imagine an author is. Is that?
No, it's just like he's almost in like an industry into himself,
Yeah.
because he's composing, writing, directing. I mean, what all he's doing, the things that he's created.
Vikramaditya Motwani.
And do I have to say it as per their work? I'm just going to say it now as per their personalities.
You say it as per your experience. Vikramaditya Motwani, who, if I'm not wrong, directed you in Lust Stories.
That's right.
Where he's the filmmaker and you're an actor. So that's life coming full circle in a cool way. What was that like?
Still waters.
Okay.
Still waters.
Konkona Sen Sharma. If I'm listing filmmakers.
Confusing. It's really confusing. I don't know what's happening with that.
Would you ever direct yourself? Or like
interesting question. I wouldn't mind. I just feel like, why take on another thing? And also, like when you're directing, like, many times you're just running around and you're sweating and, you're just wiping your face. And then as an actor, you have to be kind of careful, so that seems like it might be tough. But, my mom's done it, and so many, there's been a precedent. And also, I always say that I am often the cheapest and the most available resource. So, who knows? Let's see.
I guess, does it depend on if you're ever working on something where a role really speaks to you, on something you're working on or something you're writing, and then you see if that can work?
I think I'll always try to cast someone else.
Okay.
And then for whatever reason, if that doesn't work out and if I have to step in, I will.
Okay. Fair. Just lastly, if there's one thing you would change about the industry and how it functions today, what would it be?
Oh my God.
I can give you 3 if you want. That's the top.
I can give you 10. But I'm just like, which one will I choose?
Entirely up to you.
One thing that I could change about the industry, it's very hierarchical in many, many different ways.
Yeah.
So maybe that. Hierarchical in the way like
on set
and otherwise, but even I had meant on set, but it is also otherwise, right? Like even not just in terms of gender, but also caste and class and power and sexuality and all kinds of things. So
the power dynamics, I guess. I was just wondering like where you would even begin with that.
It's not like we don't treat everybody equally in the world, and so not on a film set.
We remain hopeful that there will be some change. But thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. This was so enjoyable.
And like I said, I truly, it's not often you get to speak to someone who's such an exciting actor and filmmaker, and we very much want you to do both. So good luck balancing that. But on behalf of all entitled fans, we can't wait for everything else.
Thank you so much. This was great fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we go, a quick word on MUBI, your one-stop shop for meaningful cinema from around the globe. You can try MUBI for free for 30 days by visiting mubi.com/thestreamingshow2025.
This week, I recommend you check out Ari Aster's Midsommar. Arguably the acclaimed filmmaker's finest film, Midsommar follows a group of friends who go on a trip to Sweden and end up getting embroiled in the unusual activities of a dangerous cult. Ari Aster once again gives us a seductive, heady concoction of tragedy and brutality in a psychological horror that descends into incredibly distressing fever dream territory, featuring some of the most grotesque visuals of body horror you're likely to see on screen. Midsommar also helped propel Florence Pugh to a household name thanks to her devastating performance here as a young woman reeling with grief and a deteriorating relationship. Far more vivid and vibrant than a mere summer vacation gone wrong, the hypnotic hellscape of Midsommar is a testament to the fact that few filmmakers are able to explore the rawness of grief, trauma, and vulnerability quite like Ari Aster. You can watch the film on MUBI.